My next guest has got the biggest fight of his career coming up here. UFC Abu Dhabi, July 26th. He's going to be taking on Petr Yan. Always great catching up with Marcus McGhee here on the program. Marcus, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Another blessed one, like always, brother.
Yeah, and a big fight here. We had heard about this fight for months, it seemed. There were some leaks and all that. Why did it take so long for this fight to get booked?
I think it was just taking forever with contract stuff, that took forever to get that. So I know me and him both agreed earlier on to the fight. We both of us have been looking for a fight. I think that maybe the UFC was trying to see what else was up, what was available during that time too. Just because, me being number 13, him being number 3, number 2. And them trying to, get us both fights with prospective people that we should be fighting. But this is the fight that ended up happening, and I'm super thankful for it.
Yeah, good things happen to those who wait, right? That whole saying too. Were you surprised to get him as an opponent? I think, again, you just mentioned the ranking there, and obviously no diss whatsoever on your skill set. But I think, 13 fighting 3, I don't think a lot of people expected that.
Yeah, no, I didn't expect it either. Even when he had called out and started saying things like, oh, anybody who wants to step up, anybody who wants to step up. I was like, yeah, I know he's saying that, but probably not me, I had said like, oh, honestly, I want to fight. I haven't fought since October anyways. I've been looking for a fight. So like if they had sent me that, I would be open to it. And then I got the call about it and I was like, oh, okay, this is this is what we're doing then. So apparently he accepted it and, he wants to challenge himself as well. And step out of his own comfort zone as well and give me an opportunity. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting. Were there any other opponents in between getting the on fight and before that? Like, you don't have to mention any names, but did anyone turn you down or anything like that? Because I've heard that's happening a bit in your division.
Yeah, and honestly, I haven't heard anything about it, and I don't ask. I assume that there's probably a little bit of something like that, but I don't ask. I don't ask about it. I understand people have lives, families, and they're going through so many different things. So it might not even be pertaining to the fight, it might be pertaining to people's livelihood and where they are in their lives. So yeah, I hadn't gotten any other names, hadn't gotten any other offers at all. So we were just kind of waiting to get an offer on anybody, and then this is the first offer that popped up.
Were you starting to get worried a bit? Because you're like, man, I got to get a fight here. Because you mentioned October. I know you didn't want to fight this late. I'm sure you would have liked to have fought, earlier in the year, I'm assuming.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. My family's still on vacation right now. I'm in Michigan and here I am.
Okay.
So all good things though. I'm blessed that they could be out there and that I have the opportunity to do what I'm doing anyways. But yeah, I would have liked to fight a little earlier so I could have spent a little time with the family during summertime. But all's good. We spend a lot of good time together. 3 of my kids have birthdays this month too. So they all understand that I'm not gonna be able to be as big of a part of it as I wanted to be. But I'm still there and we do so much too. So it's easy for me to kind of let those moments go and know that, all my time and efforts are spent in doing the best for them.
One thing I was interested in, I know you guys are good friends and I know you don't train all the time, but when Sean O'Malley fought Petr Yan in 2022, were you part of that camp at all? Obviously you're familiar with him, but I wasn't sure if you were part of that camp or not.
Yeah, so I was one of the ones that was part of that camp, me and Jack.
Oh, cool.
Abraham.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, I remember that. I feel like I was 1-0 at the time. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to find, and again, I was in the same situation. COVID was kind of around that time, and I couldn't find a fight to save my life. You know what I'm saying? LFA was pretty booked up. And again, they just weren't looking at me being the one to know. I think it was like they're looking to make easier match makes too. And, it seems like my whole career has been a little bit hard to make matches, and get matches clean just to be coming in rigorously. So I feel like that was what was going on then too. So yeah, I was a part of his camp for that one.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. So pretty familiar with them. How do you feel like your style matches up against his in this fight?
Yeah, pretty familiar with him, and I feel like my style matches up against him very well. I think my style matches up against everybody. I think I'm present, and I think that I can make adjustments on the fly. I have a lot of different tools that I can use, so I don't have to rely on 1 or 2 or 3 different things. I can put them all together, and I think Petr Yan does that at the highest level, and that he's proven that over his whole career that he's a complete fighter and that he has all the tools in his bag too. So now it's just who's going to utilize those tools at the right time. And pull out the W.
Training at one of the best camps in the world over there at the MMA lab. Who have been some of the main guys helping you get ready for this one?
Yeah, so Jack England, obviously always going with Mario. Mario's my guy too.
By the way, how cool was that win by Mario a couple weeks? Everyone was counting him out, and then he goes out there and he dominates Patchy Mix. And I was, you got to be happy for him after all the flack he got after the Aldo fight, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And nothing against Patchy Mix. He did his thing and he came in and he tried to take the world by storm. And I definitely appreciate his skill set too. But man, Mario's that guy, and everybody's been hating on him. And it's crazy to see the MMA community treat somebody like they treated him.
Yeah.
In particular, period. That was already like, whoa, how are we treating people like this
We
anyway?
talked about that after the fight too. Like it was just crazy how people were upset for him with the decision. It's like if he fought reckless and got knocked out, fans would say he's terrible. So it's like, why would you get mad at him for fighting that way against Aldo? And also, he's not the judge either. That's the judges who made that call too, right?
The judges made the call on it. Aldo had a chance to get off the cage. There's all these there's all these different variables that go into these things, and it just seems as though sometimes the MMA community does not even want to look at these things, don't want to see these things. And I say the MMA community, but a lot of the communities do the same thing. There's a lot of bandwagoners. A lot of people jump on the hype or jump off the hype, and that's just human nature, I feel like. So good thing though for Mario that he doesn't hold on to any of those things as being real. That's not what's real. All the training, all the time, all the blood, sweat, and tears, all the years behind closed doors, without praise, without people believing in you, all those type of things are built for the type of moments that happened with Mario. And he came out and he showed the world, like, he is that guy.
Yeah. And by the way, I rudely interrupted you. You were kind of telling me the more of the guys you were working with. So we mentioned Mario. Who else are you with in the gym?
Yeah,
there?
so Kyler Phillips as well. That's my guy too. As well, Moses Diaz is awesome as well. Dude, we have so many Anton O. So many guys on the mat. Abdul Kamara. One of my best friends as well. So we literally have so many different guys in our gym that are 35ers, 45ers, or 25ers that can do different things. So honestly, getting a look from all those different guys has been fantastic.
Yeah, and I know guys visiting your gym too. I'm Canadian, obviously. So I know Siri City was down there for a little bit working with you guys. He's in your weight class. So it's cool that I'm sure, like, I mean, it's always kind of been this way with the lab, but the fact that people want to like leave where they're at and come do some cross training, I think speaks volumes to how, what you guys got going on there with the culture and the gym itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And Siri City is one of those guys too that came down, really embraced the grind with us, really stepped in here with us and stayed down here for 3 weeks and put in some work. Rawls Rose Juniors came down too
Oh, nice.
for a little bit as well. So yeah, it's cool to see these guys come down and just look to further their career as well. And then just to see, and I appreciate these young guys that don't have children, that don't have families, that don't have these things going after. It's refreshing to see them do what I didn't do. It's
Yeah.
refreshing to see them go chase these dreams and be so adamant about sticking to the plan. When I was younger and I was not doing that, I was obviously having tons of kids, out being reckless, doing the most. It took me time to hone in and figure out, okay, man, this is what I'm gonna pour myself into this thing, not for glory, not for results, not for any of these things, but because this is the decision that I have made with my life, and I'm gonna go all in.
When are you heading down to Abu Dhabi? Like, if you figured out your travel and all that, and who's making the trip with you?
Yeah, so I leave the 18th, and I'll be there. I'm down there the 19th. Wanted to get there a little earlier. I went with Kyler before, and I really feel like that acclimation thing, it matters, So I'd like to get there and get a little acclimated sooner. So I'll leave the week before and get there probably about 4 days earlier than
Hmm.
everybody else will. And then I got Abel Usello coming with me, Randy Stanky, and then my wife's gonna travel with me.
Oh, nice. That's cool. You might as well take the wife. When are you going to go to Abu Dhabi again, right? So.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, I feel like she puts just as much in this as well, and obviously not on the same side as me, but with our kids, with our family, and just putting up with how inconsistent life can be, as a fighter. We had made this plan to go on vacation to see her grandma and celebrate her grandma's birthday beginning of June, but we made that in January. We were like, oh, bro, you definitely have fought before then, no big deal. And here we are. And
Yeah.
it's like, nope, nope, no, you're not going. So just for her being cool with that and putting up with it, and the family putting up with it as well, I'm super thankful for them.
How's this fight playing out on July 26th? Going to be a good one.
Yeah, yeah, I think it plays out. I think it's gonna be a war. I think both of us are gonna go in there looking for the finish. I do think that it's gonna be a very active, very exciting fight, and we're always looking for the finish. So I do believe the finish is coming.
Have you thought about like what a win would do for your career here? Like we're talking about a former champion, someone that, has not lost to that many fighters. Like there's a possibility if you win this, you could get a title shot. Has that crossed your mind at all?
Yeah, I mean, it has to cross your mind, right? Because I want to get the title. I'm very. It's something that like aiming for and everything like that. But I think that I don't put as much precedence on gaining that title because I'm putting precedence on being a champion in life in every single way that I can, right? So like that's just a cherry on top to get that championship belt. So even though it's something that I want to get, all these other things around me are what actually give me the fire and the fuel to get after that. So yeah, I've thought about it, and that's all said. That sounds all great, but God's plan, if he has the plan for my life for me to have that belt in my hands and to put me in that position, then I will step into it with his armor on every single time. But yeah, more people have brought it up to me than I have actually thought about it. Because for me, I'm like, yeah, I go beat him, and which is not a small order, but I go
Mm.
beat him, and then still, obviously, I would not consider myself to be in title contention. Just because I
Yeah.
beat Petr Yan does not necessarily mean that I've done all the work that I need to do. On my last interview, I had said it before I even getting this fight. Somebody asked me like, "Hey man, how do you feel like you would match up against Petr Yan? Would that be a fight you want?" And I said, "Yeah, I feel like I match up well, but I have a lot more work to do." And here we are fighting Petr Yan right away. So um, even though I think my skill set is there, I do think that I have more work to do. This is my fifth fight in the UFC, and if they do not choose to put me into title contention, it will not hurt my feelings.
Yeah. Okay. Well said. Well said. What did you think of? I mean, obviously, tough fight because you're buddies with Sean O'Malley. But what did you think of Merab's win over O'Malley? I thought both guys really brought their A game. It was just a really good title fight.
I think you said it perfectly. Both guys brought their A game. O'Malley made a lot of adjustments. You can see that he did a lot of good work in those first 2 rounds. But Merab is coming into himself more and more, and people doubt this man, and I don't understand why. I don't understand why guys are doubting this man. He has a very great skill set, and he's just dedicated to his craft. He loves what he does. He gives it all to God, man. I mean, what is there not to give to this guy? So he did great. I think he's a great champion. Regardless of the excitement and the clout, and maybe he's not as flashy and all that. He's a great champion. He's a great example for what a man should be, and what a man at the highest level should be.
Yeah, well said. Well said. O'Malley, I've said this to a couple different fighters. I think they got to do the Cejudo fight, right? Like that's such a big fight for your division. I know there's a bit of back and forth with. I remember Mario and look, credit to Jakar Close, by the way, for filming that at the LFA event with Mario and Henry Cejudo, getting into that little thing there. I mean, I think that's such a big fight that they could make right now, and it makes a lot of sense. What do you think of that matchup for your friend Sean O'Malley?
I think it's a great matchup for him. I think it's a great matchup for him. Henry Cejudo has a lot of great tools. I do think that the tools that Suge have are a little bit more dangerous than what Henry is going to be bringing. And that height, that range, that distance, that movement is going to play dividends in their fight. So at the same time, I believe Henry's lost 2 now, right?
Yeah.
Henry lost his last 2. So
Yeah.
for me, that's the only thing I say too. Like, even though Suge did lose to the champion, should he be fighting a guy who's lost his last 2? Now, I think it'd be a good move for Sugar too. Put his feet back in there against a guy who's in the top 10 still, a guy whose skill set will play into his skill set very well, a guy who has some tension, some flair. I think that's a good move still. Based off of like what he deserves, and should he have to take that fight? Absolutely not. I do think that he could still get Davidson Figueroa. He could still get Song Yadong, like all these other guys are still open to and would be a fantastic fights as well.
And last question, just before we go, you mentioned obviously this took a while to put the fight together. Did you get a new contract with this, or are you still on the same contract from before?
Yeah, so I did get a new contract with this, and
Awesome.
that's what was kind of taking forever, I think, too, was just kind of trying to figure out what they were going to do with the contract, because I was in the same contract for Jonathan, and I was cool with that, because of
Hmm.
getting the opportunity, and I'm not too complaining. God has graced me with so much provision, and I trust His provision over my life. But going into this one, it was like, all right, I was already supposed to get a new contract anyways, and now I'm fighting the number 2 guy, so it's like, what is that contract going to look like? So. Hopefully we can get into another contract after this one as well.
Yeah, yeah, big fight, big opportunity here, and a great card here. UFC Abu Dhabi, July 26th. Marcus, thanks so much for doing this. If there's anyone you want to thank before we get out of here, any sponsors, any social media, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, God, thank God always. Jesus is King and He's coming back. So him above all. But then also my team, amazing team at the MMA Lab. John Crouch, Randy Stanky, Abel Ustello over at Ustello. This is one of he's my Taekwondo instructor as well. He's been doing so much great work for the last 2 years with him. And then Canada Nutrients, they've been helping me out a lot. Now my garden's popping off. There's gonna be a lot more content in my garden coming in. Watermelon's going crazy. No watermelons yet, but the plants are going crazy. Melons are going crazy. Everything's living great. So very happy to be aligned with such a great nutrient company like Canada that's been around for a long time. Also Riz Pharma, just for doing so much for me. Built Better, the guys over in Scottsdale. I mean, we're just putting in so much work. I have such a big team and family around me that's just poured into me, and I'm just grateful.